Tonight, we are having the Governance Committee meeting, September 17th, 2020, 5:30 here in the school board chambers. I'll just let everybody introduce themselves. I'm Susan Randall from the George Washington District, chairman of the committee.
Holly Hazard, Hartwood District.
Elizabeth Warner, Griffiths Widewater District.
And Dr. Kisner.
Who are you?
Okay, so we're all here. First is the approval of the meeting agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, any comments, additions, deletions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of the October 25th, 2020 committee meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, the motion has been made. Are there any comments, additions, or deletions?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Moving on to old business, starting with the board professional development. We had a problem with the September 23rd date to have Charlene Green come. So I reached out to her and she gave us the dates of October 2nd on that Friday evening.
It's 7 to 9, right?
Yes, 7 to 9. Does that work for you? I can make it. You're gonna make it work? Okay. At this point, the only one I don't have a confirmation from, she'll be out of town, is Irene. But I also feel like if we keep on trying to get a date, things will just keep coming up. Would you agree?
It's hard to accommodate 7 schedules, so
It
we're going to
is.
just have to shoot for the, and I don't want to keep changing the date with her. I think that makes us,
Yeah.
I think that puts a lot of strain on her.
Oh,
I don't
for
want to
sure.
do that.
For sure. Would that date work for you, Dr. Kisner?
October 2nd, yeah.
Okay. All right, so then I'm just going to go forward and keep that date with her. And we'll just have October 2nd, 7 to 9. And,
Do it virtually? How we do it?
no, in person. In person. She said she would rather do in person, so I told her. I would think that North Stafford would be a good venue for us in that area outside the library.
I think we should have like individual dinners brought in just because of the timing.
And her travel.
And her travel.
Yeah,
That's a good idea, yeah.
yeah. I asked her if 9 would be too late, and she said no. But I just figured with everyone in traffic and stuff like that, that might be a more respectable time. Would that be all right with everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there takes care of that. The next thing is the school board dinner or service event, November 18th or 19th.
Hey, Susan, I'm
yes,
sorry,
sorry.
just something I was thinking. Dr. Kisner, in terms of, I know it's mostly, for the board, but would you want maybe Dr. Jones to be there? I mean, are there 1 or 2 people
Or even
on staff?
Roxanne. Roxana said that if we asked her to come, she would come. If we wanted her to come, she would come. I know she's already been through this.
If it's okay with everybody, October 3rd?
I think that we
Second.
should open it up to any of the cabinet members that
Yeah.
want
I
to
know
be
a
there.
lot- most of them have,
Most of them have seen her already, but
Attended.
anybody who would want to, that's why I don't think it would be a huge number, would it?
On a Friday
No,
night, probably
no.
not.
Yeah,
I'm
true
just
story.
thinking for logistics purposes to try to keep it,
Yeah,
in that
under,
circle of 6 feet. But I'll definitely, I don't know who I'm looking to, I'm looking to Missy, but I'll definitely remember to invite, or if you want to reach out, either way, Roxanne and Dr. Jones would be,
I just thought,
you know.
Yeah, because Roxana offered to come, but, I know they've already been through one. I don't know if they would prefer to come again. I'm not sure what their comfort is, but for sure they're invited.
I think people always like to be given the option and
Sure.
knowing that they're being recognized by the invitation.
Sure. Okay, great.
sorry.
Nope, I appreciate that, thank you. The next is the group dinner or service event. I had Missy print out the poll that we took, so we could look it over, and as we can see, obviously, we're back again to not getting everybody there. So I just wanted to, if we did something beginning at 6:30, maybe Pam could come join us for coffee and dessert, or I'm not sure how we want to go with this. on that Wednesday or that Thursday, or if we wanted to do a service thing and they could come at the end of it or not, I'm not sure. Which do you guys feel more in favor of?
I don't know if food security is still doing their Thursday nights if we get that far into November. But
Oh, yeah.
But if he is, that's a great project, and working with Tim is great.
It's in the Falmouth district, because I got something from, you could ask, that time of year, it's, around Thanksgiving, there's probably a lot of need to do something. Um,
I'm just not sure who would have the project for us. And there's gonna be, Missy and I've calculated, there'll be about 20 of us.
Or could be,
Right, potentially. And we
I really
talked
think
that
a
if we,
service for some reason, I feel like a service of us doing something
Well,
is,
yeah, I
like, for
told
me, is not.
Sandra, maybe we could create a project ourselves.
Maybe
Not depend on someone, I mean, again, we got almost 2 months.
to put it together.
Something.
Mhm.
I could throw it out and see what she says.
You can also reach out to Tim, he may have an idea too. Because they may be beginning to, because usually, and I think it's still the same, the VSBA was always the week before Thanksgiving. There may be some places that are beginning to gather
Like turkey
baskets
dinners,
and,
things like that.
you know, even if it's just the dry stuff, maybe there would be, let me ask around too. There may be some organizations, and I'm wondering if Tim may be doing something in that same regard that we could assist.
Even if they were opening a place up and we were serving,
Mhm.
you know, something like that, if we were serving the dinner or something. And if maybe that isn't something that's being
Maybe-
set up, maybe
may-
it's something, like Dr. Kisner said, that we set up, maybe figuring out a way to do.
I personally prefer the idea of us maybe creating our own than
Yeah.
tagging, because the way he generally does the food service, it's hamburgers and hot dogs, and it's kind of an assembly line. It would be tough for 20 of us to do that.
Yeah,
So it might be better if we kind of create our own, and it's not like there aren't locations that we couldn't do a food service or do something that would be beneficial.
Because it'd be the Thursday before real Thanksgiving. Maybe we could do
I think
you know, I'm trying, a Thanksgiving.
Maybe we could just open up one of our schools
yeah,
and house a community dinner of some sort.
sure. And maybe like, you know, sell tickets and raise money for something, or we can just do it even, you know, all free, whichever we want to try to do. But, I mean, we could open up one of our, I mean, they do like spaghetti dinners for things like that, you know, that we could do something.
Excuse
and
me.
you know, find our volunteer niche of donations or things like that, where we could, you know, in between the school kitchen, or if it had, like, I know at Stafford and at Mountain View, they also have their culinary arts kitchens and stuff.
Could we, Dr. Kisner, could we talk to Brian, is it Brian, in food service, and maybe, you know, give him some creativity too, of maybe there might be something that he's been thinking, gosh, it would be great to be able to, you know, people in food service are creative. I mean, I'd love to make it something that, I sort of like that same idea. I think it'd be neat if we all, you know, either had our shirts or we did whatever, but I think we can home grow some of it. Now, we may tap into some of the resources or people that Tim and them know, but I think it would be a great thing to do that. And I think since we didn't get to do our Head Start one, not that I'm mad, but it was, we couldn't do it, but that is a fun event when we do that, so.
If he asks, oh, I see, about 5 o'clock we will start, oh, 5:30, but is that right? I don't know, I'm reading what Ms. Healy wrote, by her name. What time, it said, was finished at 7:30, what time do you think we would start?
Well, if we're gonna do a service project that serves a meal, I would like to start at 5, I would think.
And we can also stage it and phase people coming in, which may be helpful, because if we
Maybe
had
20
five,
people
if we had
coming in.
shifts of people coming in, and we could try and make it part of it is getting to know each other. I have loved working alongside people. I find that a great way. But we might be able to have shifts, which may make sense, because we also want to make sure we're modeling good behavior as well,
Yeah, oh yeah, all that stuff.
So we could do like 5 to 6, 6 to 7.
or something like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's cleanup
Because,
and setup
yeah,
crew.
I mean, there's always the back kitchen part, there's the service part, there's the cleanup part, you know, food running, and then, of course, you know, depending on who our audience is, because that's the other thing we need to decide is who is our audience for that.
Why don't we reach out to Brian and just see it, because he may have some ideas. I mean, maybe, but I don't want to miss him, because that's somebody who's on our front lines, knowing our kids and our students in a way that, you know, he may be able to come up with something. No, but Dr., I don't want to certainly have him compete with that, but I would love to give him the opportunity to
Yeah.
at least opine if,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, down the road, this might not be the right year, but think this out a little bit more. Would it be very cool for the school board to partner with like a student group? And
For
do
sure.
Some type of social, you know, community active, community social thing.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I was talking to, gosh, I don't remember who I was talking, maybe it was Tom. And, you know, when we were discussing about, like the sports and things, and one of the things that I was saying too with these activities is that, you know, when we look at one of our most vulnerable populations even, and this is starting to jar something in me too, is that, they don't, like people that are in, you know, these, some of them in retirement, but assisted living and memory care places and stuff like that, how they no longer get their field trips, they no longer get their families, they can't go to the dining hall or anything. And one of the things my husband was telling me was that this florist was trying to join with student organizations. And he said, I will donate carnations, but you have to write the cards. And, you know, but something like that where, you know, it could be just a give, and so once a month, you know, he would try to get these student organizations, because we have plenty in our area that, you know, that's just so lonely. And, you know, we talk about the mental health of our kids, but, you know, for some of these kids, this is even their grandparents, some of our parents, not mine, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's really, oh, hi, Mom, because she's watching. But I just think it's really kind of fun, you know, to think about, like, working with student organizations in something of that nature, you know, golden messages is what we can call it, or something, you know, where they can just send a message and attach a flower or paint a rock, or, you know, send one of their favorite photos of a mountain or a sunrise, a sunset, because you know you went on those. And, but just, I know you did. But just, you know, just something of that nature, you know, again, it could be where we can participate with them as well, you know, when they sit down to do something, or deliver, or any of those things.
Yeah, no, I think the possibilities are great.
Yeah.
This will be the first year of many.
I agree.
It's the start of our,
Since our Head Start, that's really fun. And I know we can't do the ice cream sundaes like we used to, because those were really fun. But we will get back to it. Liza, that'll be one. Kathy, and when we get back to, that is such a great, and I have a caterer that gives it to us at like a cost we can't believe. So,
Well, we may need to maybe hook in with your caterer too, if we,
yeah, let's talk to Brian. Like I
Yeah.
said, I want to give him kind of first shot
Yeah,
at saying,
absolutely.
gosh, I'd love to have always done, you know, and then we, if not, we have creativity,
B.
but,
We could do Head Start. You know, because
I know.
it's a smaller, it's a fixed group,
I know.
and it often is serving underserved families. So maybe that would be a target, maybe.
Because they used to have literacy night once or
You know,
twice a
maybe we
month.
could even give the kids our books.
yeah,
Is the VSBA that week, 18th and 19th?
yeah.
So that, usually in the evenings, there's not, the only, I don't think there's keynotes in the evening, are there?
I don't think
No,
in the
they
evening-
usually had the, yeah, it was usually, I mean, we can probably play games with everybody on there, but I'd rather be out in our community.
But you know, like, even if we did it at a high school, you know how at Forge, Mountain View, and Stafford, they have like that staircase that's in the middle near the cafeteria, to be even able to, have music playing up there, for the kids, like separated, but, gives them some space up there on the balcony, but, as a higher up to be seen if you want to read, things like that.
That, the literacy night, because partly, remember, every year we get new families into Head Start. The new families are not
With
having,
enrollment, so it
I
might
know.
be nice if we could even. like,
honor that.
Honor that and say,
I think so,
we're
too.
here- Yeah.
If that would kind of be mine, but kind of pose that to Brian, I think I could probably get
Well,
it.
I'm just gonna say this, I'm gonna do reverse delegation, 4 of
But-
us in the committee, we're gonna work with Brian and figure it out.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's
We got a
right.
lot of
You
good
know what,
ideas.
if it's okay, I'll
I
call
would-
Brian.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can tell Brian.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because the nice thing about literacy night, like one year we had a theme, the kids actually sang to us at the time, and I
Okay, but
always,
the only thing I have to know is which day we're gonna do it.
I
because
Yes.
I would push for Thursday, but you know what,
I
see
am
what looks better.
absolutely- I am not
Oh, no.
available Thursday.
Okay, then Wednesday, then
But I
Wednesday.
am available Wednesday.
And I'm sorry, I
don't mind
wasn't looking
helping
at
with
it.
the setup, I just can't be.
Oh, no.
Just something to think about, I don't wanna complicate it too much. In life that we actually have potentially a lot of people, depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
There is a potential, maybe it's too aggressive, do it for 2 nights, and as we're looking to split it up,
Oh, that's a good
we
idea.
could do it Wednesday and Thursday.
That's a good
night.
idea. Then we would be splitting it up anyway.
Right,
But
so,
there would be enough people, I would think, with 20 of us.
and I think kind of getting a sense of how many families, and I think that there's some people I could hit up to, if we knew how many kids were coming, to get some kind of special book that they would all
Oh,
get to
for
leave with,
sure.
wrapped in plastic probably, I don't know, I'm not on that stuff. But Kathy is used to how we have done this, and I think it's a great way to bring our Head Start families, especially any new ones, because they're not having literacy night. I think, I'm looking at Lisa, because I think her church also does nights, or at least we were, I know, that they would sponsor the night. They would come in, they brought Bug Man. I would prefer for us not to do Bug Man, because I don't like bugs. But, those kinds of things which
Honey,
allow
fried
our,
worms.
We
yeah,
could do 2 different locations,
If that's
A north
helpful.
and a south.
Side, one on the northern side.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea, too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think
So
that's a
we could
great
do
start.
one at North Star and do one at, or near North Star and one near Rising Star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then that does kind of get both, which is our whole point in having those wonderful locations, so, all right.
And that's
Right.
good to cover
So-
everybody as being able to participate too, because if we do it over 2 nights.
Yeah.
then-
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so we'll start with a conversation with Brian, and then we can go trickle down from there. That be all right?
Yeah, and touch-
Okay.
and touch base with Kathy.
All right.
And I will call Kathy.
The superintendent's and clerk's performance
Mhm.
evaluations, do you have a date when you want to complete that?
I have not pulled the board this week. It was on my to-do list, so we will be, I'm going to have Missy send that out tomorrow,
Okay.
of when we'll have a date, because we were trying to look at all the dates that we had, so.
Yeah, well, I asked her to ask for everybody's October availability, so just add that for Holly.
Yes.
The structure and streamlining of standing committees, I sent Holly some stuff, and I know we've talked about some stuff, and so we have some things written down. I had put this onto a Google Doc and made some interjections in here, but I don't think that they didn't show up on here, so. But this is our proposal for the school board governance restructuring to try to streamline our committees going into effect, of course, next year. The first one being our actual governance committee, which we, of course, have established now, and the roles and the roles of what we want to do are similar. I don't see any difference of how we run it and what we want to do, other than that's going to be the streamline where the other committees come into to formulate the agenda for the board meeting, and therefore get it done and over with real easy. The second is the strategic and operational planning. Instead of encompass several committees, I was going to say replace or what do I want? I wrote the word earlier, I can't think of what I wrote. I guess it is replace, because it's gonna replace some of our committees while we join it together. The only one that I had a question on was the joint Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, I
School
Probably
Board-
should go.
circled, and I was thinking it should go on external.
External
External,
relations?
yeah.
Okay.
I think that.
Okay, that was, all right, well, there we go, we're all on the same page. And so,
I think that also gives everybody like 5 silos under each
It's
category.
kind of, yeah.
right,
I think that's
checklists
right.
of things to do, because not all of these things need to be handled
No.
every single month or whatever, so they can, if this is this turn to come up, then you handle that, but just to like have it come to a place for discussion. And this is also an opportunity to work with leadership that works under Dr. Kisner, so that they're included in the topics of conversation, and then making this is in my picture, in my perfect mind of what's going on, so everybody please read it, see it. It's a movie scroll in my head right now, to try to get things to come to a more organized pace of how we roll with our meetings. Go ahead, Holly.
I guess possibly the day school committee with the Board of
I would
Supervisors,
think
that might go to performance monitoring potentially, because that's actually something we need to monitor on a yearly basis. I think that's been a frustration for us, maybe not.
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, because we've been talking about the
I would say because it ends up
funding.
being a frustration for them, sometimes in conversations when we're, doing budget talks too, they'll bring up.
Well, I think it's something, I mean, to me, though, it does have a financial part, so I think maybe my thinking was, I don't want us to lose that MOU, because it does say in it, I believe, now, that we're supposed to like review it periodically, because we should, every year, we should report on how much it costs to run the day school.
Well, I do think we need a dedicated place for it so that it doesn't get lost.
I agree,
So
that's
I
why
like
I'm not sure
the
where it
idea-
should go, but I'm just
So I do like
highlighting
the
it.
idea that it's on here. I think it's a negotiable point.
Mhm.
I do kind of feel like
But
it,
it
with
also
that, it
does
falls
have-
under performance monitoring.
It could be under performance, but there's a financial aspect, so
Yeah.
it could go under FAB, and
Right.
it could go in a couple places.
I just think it's one we don't want to lose. I know
Right.
there hasn't been as much of the interest in it as when Stephanie Johnson and I were the first two on that committee. They probably were really happy when we both got off of it, because we asked lots of questions. But it is something I think we need to have a handle on, as does the Board of Supervisors. So, look, and the other thing is remember, we're going to get input from other, board members
Right,
on
right.
where to put it. I think this is also what I used to call issue spot, like, put all the things we can think of, and then we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
Delegate
sometimes
them
move
better,
the puzzle
something that-
pieces.
right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing,
Mhm.
are you going committee by committee? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll wait. Okay, I'll wait.
Okay. Okay, and the technology committee,
I just threw that
I
in
think-
as an idea, after
Yeah.
the PTA,
and the
Discussion.
ongoing incurring expense that it's going to
I think it kind
be.
of fits under there just because you not only have hardware and software and financial obligations with it, so I think it kind of works there.
Yeah.
And again, these things are all going to be.
Okay. So, performance monitoring, is this where you wanted to add something, Dr. Kisner?
No, mine is very simple, but it's number 4, external stakeholders.
Okay.
So the performance monitoring, strategic plan implementation, and am I correct in noting that that is coming up due soon? I don't know when,
Strategic plan.
yeah. Is it 22?
It's 22, it expires, so you should really start working on it on like
21.
middle of next year.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know, I wasn't here when you did it last time, so
okay,
usually you give yourselves,
Like-
12, maybe 18 months before.
it
the
comes up?
starting date, yeah.
Okay.
Did you get was it a facilitator last time, an outside consultant? Do you know?
I'm trying to remember, I know that it was, I don't think so, it was,
It's all internal? Yeah, so if it's internal, you may not need as much time then.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
But that's something that they would need to you know, if we get this up and running next January, to make sure that this is something that they start, you know, where's your end date, back it up and get your start date so that we don't run out of time on that. Assessment updates, review of state data, testing in other areas, recruiting, which is always huge. Class size, teacher workload, obviously go hand in hand a lot. Review of new legislative requirements and impact, review of data from surveys and possible input on surveys that we might need. And then, like we just said, possibly the day school here too. Is there anything else anyone can think of? Okay. External stakeholders, again, where it says encompass, I kind of want to say replace. Because we don't want these separate entities. We were just going to be, this is part of their charge under
So
one
you'd have
committee.
You'd have a flow chart of what everybody does and what fits under those different committees now.
The
Yeah.
one committee that I think, unless they changed it, that you may want to add, because I think it's required, there's only two required committees in the school system, the special ed and the health advisory committee.
Oh,
Health
health.
advisory, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so,
How could we have forgotten that one? I know that.
Okay,
And Head Start Policy Council.
That's on.
yeah,
Yep.
okay. So is there anything else anyone can think of to include? Holly, will this go on to the board for information next time, or will it just be, well, how is this going to go forward with our board?
I think we should wait till October to do it, because I think we need to kind of clean this up. I'm a flow chart person, I'm a visual person, and if anybody, I could have drawn you one, but I'm not able to make one. I think a visual would be helpful for
Okay.
everybody, but, you know, just of that, I think it's not going to be something people haven't ever, you know, I mean, we
I've
really
talked
did talk
about
about
it
it.
a couple
so-
times, yeah.
So I would just say, let's bring it in October. I think that's going to be, I think there'll be more ability to kind of focus on it. or,
Okay.
You know, or it can even piggyback on a work session, because this, to me, does not probably need 2 hours of
No.
debate. We may be able to do that when we see what else is coming up.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think a little bit more information, clean it up.
Yeah.
Put it in a flow chart, wait till October, because we have a lot going on
Okay.
in the next meeting at least.
All right, well, so it won't come until like our end of October meeting, because the first one is before our next meeting. So,
27.
yeah, I'm going to take you at your word on that one.
Because I think we have a meeting on the 6th, then we have the,
Joint
Yeah,
board.
so-
it's on 20th.
Right.
We have
that's
a
what I was
work
looking at.
session though on the 13th.
Yeah, let's
But I
see.
think the Board of Supervisors does their budget on the 13th. I
Yeah,
think
let's see.
they're discussing it on the 13th.
Yeah, and I was trying to look through my,
You guys have a board
Please.
policy that would need to be amended.
Amended.
Right.
Yes,
It's the one on standing commissions.
yeah.
Okay.
That was the one, policy 1111.
1111. Mhm.
Yeah,
And I can help you with
I
that.
talked to, I think I spoke to Susan, and, well, if I didn't, I was going to speak to her about this. So-
You talked to her,
Yeah, I mean.
he
I-
had it in his head.
I think this is great, I really think this is great, but I think for this to be successful, it's gonna have to be like complete buy-in by the board members. So I'm just wondering if you want to, I know the word work session always gets people nervous.
Mhm.
but
I
think
agree.
Really, to do it at a separate time so people can really talk, because I think what you're saying is the governance committee, there's gotta be a lot of trust in this process.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You know, and the idea is the committee will do a lot of the work and the recommendations come out to the board. We won't have to reenact what we just had a committee meeting about, so.
yes.
This is something to think about, dedicate a little bit more time to a work session.
That's why I kind of was saying the work session, because to me, board governance, not that that's not important for the average person and person who watches our meetings, but I'll tell you right now, they're not watching us right now to see how we're going to have a committee structure.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I do think this is kind of board hash out, you
Yeah.
know, hey,
I-
what
I
are we
think-
missing?
I think it's definitely something that it needs total board input.
Put-
Absolutely.
I think it makes sense, and I
Mhm.
think that there is a way that we can do this, and I think it'll work more effectively and efficiently. But I think, I agree with Dr. Kisner, everybody's got to have a buy-in.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, okay, so what date do we think that would be? We don't meet again until the 15th.
Well, could we do it on the 15th instead of our regular meeting?
If we have a work session on the 13th, they're gonna wanna come back? Or should we piggyback it on the 13th?
Let's see, the 13th, we should have a regular school board meeting, correct? And
Thought it
that
was the 6th.
13th, because it's the second, it's the second.
Okay, you're right.
So it'll be the 13th and the 27th are the two meetings, but we also have a hold date of the 20th to meet with the Board of Supervisors.
I know we haven't talked about it, but I do think before we get into the budget deep dive, we should have the transportation consultants meet with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot in that report.
Yeah.
I thought that was
also
what the
has
work
some
session.
budgetary implications.
Didn't we have work sessions?
The work session that we have next week, though, is security, right?
Yeah, that's just security.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the 13th, I know it says please hold for work session, is that?
The transportation.
Okay.
That's what I
We
was
have it
thinking.
scheduled?
Yeah, I thought we did.
Like 8
See?
weeks ago.
You're already way ahead.
Because I had work session written down, then I must have thought, oh, the school board meeting must be the week before.
Okay, so we wanna say, do we wanna piggyback it with the 13th, or is that too much with transportation?
13th probably is going to be a lot on transportation.
I would
And I
think.
think to,
Get their
Yeah.
attention and thoughts processes
mhm.
combined.
Unless we do it on the 27th and just add an hour before the meeting.
Could we do a tentative hold on the 27th for a work session for this topic?
Okay, and that'll give us one more try to clean up all the words, get our thoughts, and then,
Flow chart.
yeah. Sound good?
'Cause I'm,
Sounds like a plan.
yep.
Okey-doke. All right. Any new business that anyone has?
Only comment will be, Missy, we are still going forward with our advisory committees on the 8th. Missy and I had a discussion about that today of where we were going to have it, trying to make sure that we offer a virtual option for each of our committees. I will say that Ms. Hall very nicely volunteered to call the members who want to be on the committee. So if there's a whole committee that's going to be virtual, that our staff would know ahead of time or something
Okay.
like that. So it was very kind of her to do, because
Yeah.
I just, we want to, and she was going to be talking with Jay and everybody to see best spot to be able to have it so that there can be up
That
to
breakout.
7 breakout areas, but one general session, hopefully.
And it's the 8th.
The first.
The
First, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like, I thought it was first,
I thought
okay.
it was the first too. I had it written down on the first. and
Okay.
I was
And
like, wait a
so-
minute, did it move?
Do we have a location for that? Or
That's what we were
tentatively?
working on,
Okay. Okay,
with the parameters.
right.
There's also, is there a disciplinary hearing that day?
Yes,
Right.
because it is.
The first,
It's.
The 1st of October.
today is the
Is this
17th?
from last year, or we don't get?
No.
Right.
It's doubtful that we are gonna have one that day.
Okay.
It's already the 17th.
Well, I was gonna say, we're pretty close to the 1st now, you would
Yeah.
know, I would think.
Yeah,
So, okay.
Okay.
So that's good.
Okay.
Because, so,
we're good.
Okay.
Good.
All right, and then we have the first committee meeting, and the second is Charlene Green
Mhm.
from 7 to 9. Okay. Is there anything else?
So we're gonna see each other a lot in October, November.
Isn't that amazing? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Well, our next meeting
Excellent.
is October 15th at 5:30. Thank you.